The number of Koreans in their 20s have been overtaken by the elderly in their 70s and older for the first time since records began, amid chronically low birth rates and a rapidly aging population.
국내 저출생 고령화 현상이 지속되면서 20대 인구가 70대 이상 인구보다 적어진 것으로 집계됐습니다. 이런 현상은 관련 통계 작성 이후 처음 있는 일입니다.
Yeah, so according to government data, the number of people in their 20s totaled 6.3 million people last year. That's down about 193,000 from a year earlier. And compare that to people in their 70s and older, which came out to 6.54 million. So what we're seeing and what we've talked about numerous times here on this show as well. The declining birth rate here in Korea is changing the demographics in the country. Yeah. The population of people in their 20s peaked at just over 7 million back in 2020, but it's now been on the decline for 4 consecutive years.
벌써 몇 년째 이렇게 20대 인구가 줄어들고 있고요. 70대 이상 인구가 늘고 있습니다. 그래서 실제로 가장 최근에 나온 데이터에 의하면은 20대 인구가 6.3 million이라고 하셨죠.
That's
네.
right.
그러면은 대략적으로 한 630만 명. 네.
That's
맞나요?
Right. Yeah, that's
네.
correct.
Numbers always trip me up. 그다음에 이제 70대 이상은 6.54 million.
Exactly.
네, 좀 더 많습니다.
Yeah.
네.
But I think you do have to look at the data a little more carefully because we're talking about people in their 20s compared to people in their 70s and older.
Yeah.
So it's not really apples to apples. It's a little, it's a little skewed, obviously. But so we're talking about people in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, right?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
in any case, it is an important measure because people in their 20s are the ones that are more economically active, and that's the issue here, right?
Now, obviously, in the past, 70 and above would have accounted for a very small percentage of the
Sure.
population. And, there wouldn't have been many people in their 80s, 90s, or, over 100.
Right.
But now, as you said, there are a lot of people, in fact, more people over 70 than people in their 20s in Korea. The population issue here in South Korea has been spoken of, around the world for such a long time. I think everyone pretty much knows that we have a very low birth rate. This is troubling.
Yeah, and part of that is, of course, life expectancies are increasing, but also the fact that this baby boomer generation is that sort of demographic, right? 70 and older.
Yes, exactly. So the 70-plus age group has overtaken the 20s.
Yeah, so when you overtake something, you're catching up with it and then moving ahead of something. It could be literal, like if you're on the road in traffic and you overtake the car ahead of you, you're passing them. But just figuratively as well, if you're surpassing a competitor or there's an event that overwhelms you, you're overtaking it too as well.
Did you ever have that experience in a race where you overtook someone and it just feels
Usually
really great?
not. I'm not the fastest person.
No.
I wasn't the quickest person. Usually I was overtaken. And you make a good point because if you look at the headline and how it was written today, it's written in the passive voice, right? Because it says the number of Koreans in their 20s have been overtaken by. You can easily rewrite this headline by saying the elderly in their 70s and older overtook. And that would be a little more active voice. I think.
Great point. 자, 능동태냐 수동태냐에 따라서 추월했다, 추월당했다 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있는 거죠. To overtake, to be overtaken. 그래서 지금은 이제 70 이상 인구가 20대를 추월했다. 인구수로 봤을 때요. And we're talking about a rapidly aging population.
Yeah, of course, it's a situation where the average age of a population is increasing quickly, rapidly, right? Usually because of low birth rates and longer life expectancies.
To do something rapidly, quickly, speedily. 굉장히 빨리 뭔가 한다라는 뜻이 있는데요.
Expeditiously.
Oh, that's
How about
another
that?
good one.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's get our thesauruses out. Rapidly. 그다음에 aging, 노령화가 되고 있는 인구가 되겠습니다.
And spelling of aging in North America, A-G-I-N-G. The Brits will add an E in there, right?
That's right. A-G-E-I-N-G. Yeah, the different spellings in different countries.
Sure.
But they're all acceptable. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The number of Koreans in their 20s have been overtaken by the elderly in their 70s and older for the first time since records began, amid chronically low birth rates and a rapidly aging population. Let's move on to the second headline.
More than 210,000 passengers traveled through Incheon International Airport per day during this year's extended Chuseok holiday period, setting a new record according to data compiled by the airport.
이번 추석 연휴 기간 동안 인천국제공항을 이용한 여객 수가 하루 평균 21만 명 이상을 기록해 역대 추석 연휴 중 최다 여객 실적을 경신했다고 공항 측이 밝혔습니다.
Yeah, the number was actually a little closer to 220,000 daily travelers through the airport, and we're talking about a period from October 2nd through 9th, and that's up 6.4% from the same period last year. All in total, 1.74 million passengers used Incheon Airport during this period, and that's the highest daily average for any holiday period. The second highest, because the highest was actually earlier this year during the Lunar New Year holiday. In any case, maybe because the extended holiday was much longer, it was spread out, but what we're seeing is a general trend upwards of the average daily use of Incheon Airport. It's just very busy at the airport if you've been there recently.
Yeah. Which I haven't, but I would imagine it is.
It is, yeah.
So this is during the official Chuseok break, which was, as you said, up until the 9th.
Yes.
And the second would have been, I think, a day before the official break.
Yeah, I think people get a head start on the holiday sometimes, right?
Exactly. 그래요. 10월 2일부터 9일까지 공항 이용객 수를 보게 되니까요. 인천국제공항을 하루 평균 21만 7,600명 이상 이용했다고 합니다. All right, so 217,000 people traveled through Incheon.
Yeah, when we talk about the airport, we use the preposition through a lot because you're actually transiting through it. You don't go to the airport to stay there, although there are a lot of amenities at Incheon Airport that you can enjoy. But usually it's sort of a conduit, right, to get to another place. So when you're moving from one place to another or passing through it, like a train station, an airport, you're traveling through.
Yeah, exactly. To get through something, 통과한다는 의미의 through가 들어가면은요, 그냥 거기서 쭉 머무른다라기보다는 여기에 있다가 그 다음에 말 그대로 이제 통과하는 거니까 지나가는 거죠. 그래서 공항에서 이제 비행기를 타야 되니까 공항을 이용한 승객 수를 영어로는 people who traveled through Incheon International Airport 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있겠고, and then as I said, when you get through something, just in general, in life, that means there was a difficult phase and it's like a tunnel.
Yes.
So you start at one end, you go through it, it's really dark, but then if you get through anything, that means you came out the other end.
Right. Like an ordeal. It could be good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. To
Right.
get through an ordeal. Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if this is talking about arrivals, departures, and transit passengers. But in any case, the number of people, the majority actually went to Southeast Asia. So I
really?
imagine
Okay.
a lot of domestic travelers enjoying the break.
그래요. Domestic travelers, 국내 여행객. Now, what about the expression per day?
Per day, yeah. It's used to express a rate when you say per. We're talking about the frequency for each single day. So when we say per day, it's usually followed by a number, right?
Yeah, exactly. Per person would be 1인당, per week, 일주당, and in this case, per day, 하루에 몇 명.
Yeah, another similar term would be if you go on a business trip, your company might give you an allowance, a per diem, which is Latin, I think, D-I-E-M, which is used usually to eat. I think it's a food allowance per diem. But
like
I believe
carpe diem.
Carpe diem. I think diem means day in Latin. Right?
It must be. Yeah, exactly. 그런 표현이 있군요. 그러니까 하루에 필요한 그 식사 비용 이런 거를 이제 회사에서 지급할 때 per diem.
A per diem.
Per diem. It's like a noun then.
Yeah, I've heard it used it like that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. All right. So per means 뭐뭐당. All right. I'm going to read this headline one more time. More than 210,000 passengers traveled through Incheon International Airport per day during this year's extended Chuseok holiday period, setting a new record according to data compiled by the airport.
Venezuela's opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has won the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize for her fight against dictatorship in the country, becoming the first Venezuelan and the sixth Latin American to receive the award.
베네수엘라의 야권 지도자 마리아 코리나 마차도가 자국 독재에 맞서 싸운 공로로 올해 노벨 평화상 수상자로 선정됐습니다. 마차도의 이 부문 수상은 베네수엘라 최초이자 라틴 아메리카 출신으로는 6번째가 됩니다.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the situation in Venezuela, the current president, Nicolas Maduro, he's been in power since 2013. Machado, who won the award, was actually banned from running against him in the most recent election because of the courts. And so Maduro, he's been shrouded under a lot of controversy. There's been deep economic and social crisis in the country. He's in his third term right now. There have been numerous calls for him to step down. In fact, the U.S. has a bounty and a reward for his capture. But what the Nobel Committee said was when authoritarians, speaking of Maduro, seize power, it's crucial to recognize courageous defenders of freedom who rise and resist, as in Machado.
Am I right in saying some countries don't acknowledge that Maduro is the rightful head of state?
Yeah, I believe so, with U.S. included. But nonetheless, Machado, she's the first Venezuelan to ever win the Nobel Peace Prize and the sixth from Latin America. And, just because of her... just who she is, she's such a high-profile figure. Her three children are actually living abroad for safety reasons and things like that. But nonetheless, she has won the Peace Prize.
Right. She's the opposition leader. Opposition and 야권. So if she were the ruling party leader, then we would say Venezuela's ruling party leader.
Yes.
여권은 ruling party, 여당이겠죠. 그다음에 이제 야당은 opposition party인데 party 빼고 Venezuela's opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado. The reason she won this prize, as you said, was because of her fight against dictatorship.
Yeah, so when you fight against something, usually when you fight, it's against someone. You're opposing or resisting. You're trying to stop a problem or forcing through a situation. So, it could be a physical struggle, but it could be figurative as well if you're battling or fighting against a disease, for example.
Yeah, fight against something. So you can use this as a verb, but it's also a noun as well.
Exactly.
A fight against something, or you can fight against something. 무엇과의 싸움, 무엇과 싸우다. Now, what about Latin America?
Yeah, this is a good point to make. People get confused sometimes with Latin America, Hispanics. So just to break it down, Latin America is a region in the Americas where the Romance languages are used. We're talking about Spanish, Portuguese, and to a lesser extent, French. So that includes countries like Brazil that speak Portuguese. But on the other hand, if you're talking about Hispanics are people with a historical connection to Spain.
Yeah.
Right,
so
that
speaking Spanish.
Speaking Spanish, so that excludes Brazil in that case.
Because they speak Portuguese.
Exactly. South America, obviously, is just the continent below sort of the central part of America. So that's a geographic sort of term. But Latin America, it also includes regions of the Caribbean as well that speak Spanish.
Is Mexico included in Latin America?
Yes, I believe. Yes. Absolutely. Okay. Geographically, it's in Central America, but they do speak Spanish there. So I believe so. I would say because they speak Spanish.
Okay. Latin America, 이제 South America랑 좀 구별해서 지금 설명을 해주셨죠. South America refers to just the continent in the south of the Americas, whereas Latin America is all the countries that speak Spanish, Portuguese, and maybe French as well in that region, in that part of the world. So it's a slightly broader term. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. Venezuela's opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, has won the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize for her fight against dictatorship in the country, becoming the first Venezuelan and the sixth Latin American to receive the award. Let's move on to the next headline.
More than 12 million fans attended professional baseball games in Korea this season, setting a new record for Korean baseball for the second consecutive year, while 9 of the league's 10 clubs also broke their individual single-season attendance records.
2025년 프로야구가 누적 관중 1,200만 명을 돌파하면서 2년 연속 1,000만 관중 기록을 이어간 가운데 리그 내 10개 구단 중 9개 구단이 각기 단일 시즌 최다 관중 기록을 세운 것으로 나타났습니다.
Yeah, so baseball, professional baseball here, obviously a very popular sport. It's the midst of the postseason right now.
Yeah,
I believe
yeah.
Game 3 of the semi-playoffs, they call it, between the Landers and the Lions is happening tonight. But in any case, attendance records are a good measure of how popular a sport is. And like it says here, it reached 12.3 million fans. And this is just the regular season. It doesn't mean that 12 million separate people went to the games. It means that that many people were in attendance. So we have repeat fans, obviously. But it was across the board. It wasn't just one single team that led these attendance figures, but 9 of the league's 10 clubs actually sent or set a single season attendance record as well. So it's not skewed in any way. So and foreign fans are also adding this to their sort of itineraries when they visit Korea, because Korean baseball is very unique. It's different from American baseball, I think even Japanese baseball, in terms of the ambiance, the environment at these baseball games. Very exciting. But again, the postseason is underway when the league will crown a champion by the end of this month.
Yeah, well, Shane, have you attended any of these games this year?
Not this season. I haven't been able to attend in recent years. I actually went last year a couple times.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I do enjoy watching baseball whenever I get the chance.
Well, our listeners would have noticed that I used the verb attend there quite purposefully because it's in the headline. If you attend something, what does that mean?
Yeah, it means you're being present at or you're going to someplace, an event, school, a ceremony, for example, right?
Exactly. I think of school, especially when I hear attendance, 출석.
Right, you take attendance at school.
Exactly. 자, 그래서 attend라는 것은 어디에 출석하다, 어디에 가다라는 뜻이 있죠. So more than 12 million fans attended professional baseball games. 누적 관중 1,200명이 이런 프로야구 게임에 간 거죠. 보러 갔어요. You could just say 12 million fans went to the games.
Exactly.
go 써도 돼요.
Yeah, but attend has this sort of more formal meaning or feeling, I should say, like a wedding. You attend a wedding, right? You can say you go to a wedding. I'm going to a wedding next week, but I'm attending a wedding.
그렇죠. 참석하다의 의미가 있죠. What about individual records?
Yeah, so individual records in this case would be an adjective, right? Talking about something that's single, that's separate, it's very distinct. As a noun, an individual is a person, just one person separate from a group.
As an individual 이런 말을 쓴다면은 이제 한 개인으로서. 그래서 individual 개인이라는 뜻이 있는데요. 여기서는 개개의 개별적인 records가 되겠죠.
So we're talking about each single team set their own record. Right.
So the Beatles collectively as a group
were
obviously very famous around the world, but each of the members individually were also very famous.
Right. To different degrees, I would say, right?
True.
Right. Ringo Starr, I think he always gets the short end of the stick, but in
a little
case,
bit. All right. Paul McCartney, of course. Sir Paul McCartney being, I think he's the only living Beatle.
Is he? Yeah, I believe Ringo Starr passed recently. I think so.
그래요. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. More than 12 million fans attended professional baseball games in Korea this season, setting a new record for Korean baseball for the second consecutive year, while 9 of the league's 10 clubs also broke their individual single-season attendance records. Here's our final headline.
Museum souvenirs and merchandise are expected to reach record levels this year, already totaling more than 21 billion won from January to August, the highest volume since the National Museum Foundation of Korea was established in 2004.
국립박물관문화재단은 올해 1월부터 8월까지 박물관에서 판매한 기념품 및 문화상품으로 2004년 재단 설립 이후 가장 많은 금액인 217억 원의 매출을 올려 올해 역대 최고 매출을 기록할 것으로 보인다고 발표했습니다.
Yeah, so we're talking about 굿즈 here, right? We're talking about
뮤즈.
뮤즈, to be exact, right? Which is a portmanteau of museum and goods. Normally we say souvenirs, merchandise, memorabilia, these things that they sell at museums at the end of the tour usually. But if you look at the numbers, the previous annual sales was, the record was 21.3 billion won, which was set last year. But already this year through August, it surpassed it already, 21.7, and they're expecting it to reach 30 billion won by the end of this year. And who are we kidding? Of course, the reason for this is probably because of the popularity of K-pop Demon Hunters.
Exactly.
Which has done a great deal in terms of showcasing, highlighting, and promoting Korean history. Derpy, the character, very cute, the cat, or the tiger, I should say, the feline, very popular amongst fans there.
Absolutely. 그래요. 캐대현의 영향이 분명히 있었던 것으로 해석할 수 있겠고, 정말 그 사진을 보면은요, the lines are so long in front of this souvenir shop at the National Museum.
Right.
I hear sometimes you just have to wait for an hour, 2 hours, just to get in.
Yeah, people are doing open runs to get their hands on.
Wow.
Yeah, to get their hands on these souvenirs.
Yeah, exactly. 그래요. 우리 뮤즈라고 이렇게 단어를 하나 코인 만들어가지고 사용을 하더라고요. 박물관 측에서. 뮤지엄 굿즈 해서 뮤즈 이런 단어가 만들어졌는데 그만큼 판매고가 상당히 높습니다.
Yeah.
So last year, 작년 한 해 통틀어서 1월부터 12월까지 이런 이제 뮤즈의 매출액이 212억 원이었는데요. 올해 8월까지 이미 그거를 추월했습니다.
Yeah.
217억 원 넘었어요. 벌써. So by the end of the year, we're probably going to see around 30 billion won. That's the estimate or the prediction.
Yeah, so it's emphasizing just how quickly or surprisingly large the number is, and it's already reached an amount at the present time.
Yeah. In the headline, it says already the sales total 21 billion won.
Right. Exactly. So when it's already reached that mark, in fact, it's already reached the record. It's surpassed the 21.3.
Yeah.
So already totaling. So it adds up to that amount.
벌써 이미 얼마에 달한다라는 표현이 되겠죠. 제가 앞서서 읽을 때 그 217억 원을 2,170억 원이라고 했었나 봐요.
At the very beginning of the show.
전혀 몰랐는데 217억 원입니다.
Yeah. You add in another zero.
그게 어디서 났을까 그 영이. 저도 모르게 가끔 그렇게 또 잘못 읽을 때가 있는 것 같은데 영어로는 21 billion won 우리말로 하자면은 이제 210억 원 이상, 정확히 말하면 217억 원이 되겠습니다. 자, volume 볼까요?
Yeah, volume is, in this case, we're talking about the total amount or quantity of something. Things like sales, business activity, anything you can measure. But volume, it's not talking about, of course, the sound, how loud or how quiet something is, obviously.
Exactly. We're talking about the 양, 규모, volume이라고 표현을 합니다.
Right. And in math, of course, the volume is in three-dimensional objects, just how do you explain volume?
Something cubed.
Cubic,
exactly.
Three-dimensional.
Three-dimensional, yeah. So in this case, we're talking about the sales. sales 양을 volume이라고 표현하고 있습니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼까요? Museum souvenirs and merchandise are expected to reach record levels this year, already totaling more than 21 billion won from January to August, the highest volume since the National Museum Foundation of Korea was established in 2004. Well, that's it for the headlines with Shane Harm.
Korea's antibiotic use has surged to one of the highest levels among OECD countries, raising concerns over the growing threat of drug-resistant superbugs and prompting urgent calls for tighter control measures.
우리나라의 항생제 사용량이 경제협력개발기구 OECD 회원국 중 최상위권에 오른 것으로 나타남에 따라 무분별한 항생제 사용으로 슈퍼박테리아라 불리는 내성균을 키우게 된다는 우려와 함께 보다 엄격한 관리 등 대책 마련이 시급하다는 지적이 나오고 있습니다. Tell us more.
Not great news. We're in the top 10, but even worse, we're in the top 2 in the OECD according to their statistics. Their data shows that we're the second highest among the organization's member countries at 31.8 daily doses per 1,000 people, and that was in 2023. The year before, we were in fourth position with 25.7 doses. The average for the OECD is 18.9. So too many antibiotics being used. And experts are warning that that's going to increase the rate and the emergence of antimicrobial resistance, AMR. are. And that means that when you get infected by bacteria, they are able to withstand medicine. They're able to withstand or endure, survive the antibiotics. And so there's a greater risk of further illness or even death. It's a very serious business. And, Korea is doing its best. Last year, we had the pilot scheme, the antimicrobial stewardship program that was designed to make sure that antibiotics are only prescribed when necessary and also used only in the optimal way and with the optimal doses. But we will have to see. It's one thing we have to be very careful with, because if we keep using too many antibiotics, we could be in trouble.
그래요. 우리나라 항생제 사용량이 상당히 많군요. OECD 회원국 중에 2위라고 하니까. 자, 그러면은 이 표현을 좀 볼게요. You mentioned resistance
Yes.
and resistant. Let's have a look at drug resistant.
Yes. So if something is resistant, it means it resists against the other thing, in this case, drugs. So if you resist, you fight against something. So these bacteria, if they are drug resistant, they can survive the use of drugs. Even though these drugs should be effective, the bacteria are not killed. They do not disappear. They endure. They withstand the drugs. They fight against them.
Exactly. Drug resistant as a drug는 약물이고 그다음에 resistant는 내성이 있다는 뜻이니까 약물 내성의라는 형용사가 되겠네요. If you say water resistant,
Yes.
그러면 약간 방수가 되는 완전 방수는 아니지만
Yes.
약간 방수.
Well, that's the
완전히-
difference.
그쵸?
Waterproof would be absolutely resistant to
Exactly.
water. Water
맞아.
resistant means, well, a little bit will be okay.
가끔씩 보면은 시계, 손목 시계에
네.
이제 water resistant up to I don't know
5 meters or 3
맞아.
meters, yes.
네, 그렇게요. 그래서 수십 몇 미터까지는 방수가 된다. 그래서 water resistant라는 표현이 그럴 때 쓰이고 waterproof라고 하면은 완전 방수가
네.
되는 게 될 텐데 resistant가 또 resist라는 동사에서 나온 건데요. Sometimes you can't resist the urge to eat a donut.
Yes, they are irresistible.
Exactly. 그렇게 내가 참을 수 없어. 너무 맛있어. 라고
네.
할 때 this is irresistible. 이렇게 얘기할 수도 있죠.
Yeah, so we often use this term when talking about things we like and things maybe we shouldn't eat or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Also, if you like movies involving revolutions, you may have heard the word resistance. The people who are fighting against the government.
Or the French way, resistance.
La résistance, like in Les Miserables.
Exactly. What about urgent calls?
Here it's the scientists, the doctors who are saying this, and they are very important, very big warnings, very severe warnings. If something is urgent, it means there's an emergency. Something has to be done right away. So if there are urgent calls, people are saying, listen to us, you have to do something now.
Exactly. Urgent, 급하다. 긴급한, 시급한 calls, 요청이나 요구. So we're looking at urgent calls for tighter control measures when it comes to taking pills or medicine or drugs.
Yes.
Medicine, drugs in this case.
And I think
Yeah.
one of the big things with antibiotics is if your doctor gives you a course, you have to finish it.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
reason why you're given 5 days or 7 days worth of pills, because if you don't finish it, it's going to contribute to these kind of issues.
그래서 항생제라는 단어 꼭 기억하시면 좋겠죠. Antibiotics.
네.
명사 형태는 보통 S 붙여가지고 antibiotics라고 하는데 형용사로는 S 빼고 그냥 antibiotic
네.
이렇게 하시면 됩니다. All right, well, here's the headline again. Korea's antibiotic use has surged to one of the highest levels among OECD countries, raising concerns over the growing threat of drug-resistant superbugs and prompting urgent calls for tighter control measures. Here's our next headline.
Thousands of cars were caught in a kilometres-long traffic jam at China's largest toll road as millions of travellers made their way home after an 8-day national holiday.
중국 최대 규모의 고속도로 톨게이트 주변으로 수 킬로미터에 달하는 교통체증이 빚어졌습니다. 이는 8일간의 국경절 연휴를 마치고 집으로 돌아가는 사람들이 몰리면서 발생한 것으로 알려졌습니다. Okay, so I've seen the pictures.
Yes.
And it's a huge road.
Yeah, 36 lanes.
맞아요. 36차선이나 되는 어마어마한 그런 도로가 꽉 막힌 그런 사정이었습니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, this is as the holiday was closing and everybody was going back home. There were more people on the roads. Last year during the holiday, there was something like 765 million trips across China. This year, it was up to 888 million trips, and a lot of them by car. So in this Anhui province in the east of it at the Wuzhang toll station. That's where this big traffic jam occurred. People were comparing it to another one in 2010, which was the worst ever. It lasted 12 days.
Oh my goodness, 12 days?
Yeah, it was more than 100 kilometers long from Beijing to Inner Mongolia.
This one didn't last that long, did
No,
it?
it did not, but
Okay.
still it would have been very frustrating. And the reasons for it was, one, construction work, but two, there were also a lot of heavy trucks using the road, and there were more breakdowns, which means there was more jamming. So I guess a lot of Chinese people coming back home from their holidays were not very happy.
Exactly. Now, the expression used here is they were caught in a traffic jam.
Yes, so a traffic jam is when there's too much traffic, so it slows sometimes to a crawl, sometimes to a halt. And if you're caught in something, it means you are trapped. You are stuck there. For example, yesterday, I was very lucky. I got home before I could be caught in the rain. Or a mouse might be caught in a trap. We use this expression caught in a momomo a lot to mean that we find ourselves in this position and it's somewhere we don't want to be. It's usually a very negative or sometimes even dangerous situation.
이런 상황에 처했다. Be caught in 어떤 상황.
네.
그래서 지금 비가 오는데 내가 우산이 없을 때 caught in the rain이라고 하나요? 아니면 우산이 있어도?
Oh, even if you don't want to be outside when it's raining, you can use I was caught in the rain.
아, 그래요. 아니, 내가 밖에 있는데 갑자기 비가 많이 와가지고 그래서 비 속에 있는 상황이 됐어. I was caught in the rain.
Yeah, or for example, it's your loved one's birthday. You're wrapping up their gift that you've got them and they walk into the room and you go, oh no, you've caught me in the act. You've caught me doing this.
Caught me red-handed.
Oh, that's another good one, yes.
그래요. 이제 그거는 현장에서 적발이 됐을 때.
네.
You've caught me. You catch someone. 그렇게 쓰기도 하는데 자, 여기서는 be caught in a traffic jam이니까요.
네.
교통체증에 걸리는 거죠. 교통체증 이 상황이 원치 않는 상황인데 거기에 stuck가 된 모양입니다. Of course, the roads also formed a sort of bottleneck. I think that's why there was this traffic jam.
Yes, going from many lanes to not so many is always
Yeah.
going to be an issue when there are too many cars.
그래요. 그래서 이 36차선 도로에 하루 종일 한 1,000만 대의 차량이 빼곡히 꽉 막혀 있었다고 합니다. That's a lot of cars.
It's a lot of cars, and well, I hope everybody's got home safely.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at that expression, to make your way home.
Yes, now simply, you could say that to make your way home means to go home. But it suggests that there's a little bit of a kerfuffle. There's a little bit of an issue. Either it's a long way,
Right.
or there's problems. Maybe there's bad weather, that maybe there's a traffic jam, maybe you might get lost. So to make your way home is not just going home, it suggests it's going to be a bit of an ordeal. It's going to take a while, or it's going to take energy.
So it's more than just going home. 그냥 집에 가는 정도가 아니라 약간 힘들게 집에 가는 느낌이네요. Make
Yeah.
your way home.
So, for example, I remember one night a long time ago, we had rehearsals for a show, and we finished at 1 a.m. in Gangnam.
Wow.
And I had to get back to Itaewon. And there were no taxis. It took a long time to make my way home.
Yeah, exactly. It's more dramatic, would you say?
It
to make
is,
your way
yeah.
home?
It just suggests that it's not normal, it's not easy, there's something going on there.
그래요. 왠지 이제 직선 도로보다는 뭔가 좀 우회해야 되고 어려운 난관이 있을 것만 같은 분위기의 표현입니다. 그러나 의미상은 이제 집에 가다예요. Make your way home. 그 느낌 차이를 아시면 될 것 같아요. Alright, here's the headline again. Thousands of cars were caught in a kilometers-long traffic jam at China's largest toll road as millions of travelers made their way home after an 8-day national holiday.
30 beluga whales at a financially troubled marine park in Canada are at risk of being euthanized after the country's fisheries minister blocked their transfer to a theme park in China.
캐나다의 한 동물원이 사육하던 벨루가 30마리가 안락사 위기에 놓였습니다. 이 동물원은 최근 재정난을 겪으면서 중국의 한 테마파크에 벨루가를 판매하려 했으나 캐나다 수산부가 이를 불허하면서 지금과 같은 상황에 처한 것으로 전해졌습니다. I love beluga whales.
Yes,
but
and
it's so sad what might happen.
Yeah, a lot of people in recent years have said they should not be in captivity. They're too intelligent and they deserve to be in the wild.
They should definitely be in the wild, yeah.
But we have a big problem here. This place is called Marineland, and it used to be a big draw for crowds near Ontario in Canada. But it's faced some scandals over treatment of the animals and has not had the visitors it's had, and in fact did not open this past summer.
Yeah.
They're expecting to sell the park, and a lawyer for the park back in February says they want to very quickly move the animals. And these whales in particular, there's 19 belugas and 1 orca who have already died. So these remaining whales need to get out of there. And Marineland had a deal with China, with the Chimelong Ocean Kingdom in Zhuhai, but the Canada's fishery minister had blocked the export permit, saying that they could not do this because of the treatment that these whales might endure. So the issue is what to do with these whales, because Marineland says if we can't send them to China, we're going to have to put them down.
To put an animal down means to euthanize them.
Yes.
Which is very sad indeed. 안락사시키는 것을 to euthanize라고 하고요. 또 다른 말로 지금 표현해 주신 to put an animal down, to put this whale down.
Yeah, or to put to sleep is the other term that's used sometimes.
Really?
These are euphemisms because it's a really hard word. Euthanasia is an awful word to use, especially as a pet owner. So we have these euphemisms to make it a little bit easier to talk about.
Well, let's have a look at the risk of being euthanized then.
Yes, if something is at the risk of something else, it means there's a danger that will happen. There's a possibility, and it's not a good possibility. It's a negative possibility that something is going to happen to them. In this case, a danger of being put down, of being euthanized.
안락사될 위험에 처했다. Be at risk of being euthanized. What about financially troubled?
If you're financially troubled, you have financial troubles, meaning you have money troubles, meaning you don't have enough money, or you have too many debts, or you can't pay your bills, or whatever it may be. You have money problems. So if you are financially troubled, you have money problems. That's a simple way of saying it.
Financially troubled, 재정적으로 어려운, 그러니까 재정난을 겪고 있다라는 뜻인데요. 실제로 이제 연방 정부의 도움, 자금 지원이 있지 않으면은 이렇게 한 30마리 정도의 벨루가 고래가 안락사 될 수도 있다라고 합니다. 굉장히 안타까운데 빨리 지원이 됐으면 좋겠어요. Hopefully they won't be euthanized and they will get the money that they need.
Yes, and hopefully they can be taken somewhere where they can be, properly supervised and then released back into the wild.
Exactly. All right. Well, let me read the headline again. 30 beluga whales at a financially troubled marine park in Canada are at risk of being euthanized after the country's fisheries minister blocked their transfer to a theme park in China. Let's move on to the next headline.
A Swedish man searching for fishing worms near his summer house in the Stockholm area has unearthed a 6-kilogram hoard of silver coins and jewellery from the early Middle Ages, containing thousands of coins along with rings, pendants and beads.
스웨덴의 한 남성이 스톡홀m에 있는 자신의 별장 근처에서 낚시용 지렁이를 찾기 위해 땅을 파다가 6kg에 달하는 중세시대 초기의 은화와 보물을 발견했습니다. 발견물에는 동전 외에도 반지, 목걸이 장식, 구슬 등이 포함된 것으로 알려졌습니다. Wow, what a find.
Yes, looking for worms and in fact finding treasure in a cauldron. No less.
Found a little bit more than worms.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest finds. It's unusually large. It's very well preserved. The copper cauldron this hoard was in, all these gems and coins, has deteriorated. But we do have these incredible coins, silver coins dating back to the 12th century. There are even some of these so-called bishops' coins where you have the image of the bishop stamped on the coin at the time, and so this dates it very, very well. And archaeologists are speculating that this could have been during a very turbulent time in the late 12th century when Sweden was expanding control into Finland, when things were going on, where people were hiding treasure to be found by fishermen hundreds of years later.
Everything about this is so surprising. First of all, that it's just been hidden away for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And there's so much treasure that no one knew about. And I guess it wasn't that deep in the ground.
No, but in the countryside, you know, if nobody walks by, if nobody touches it, the good thing is the fishermen did their civic duty and reported it immediately so that the Stockholm County Administrative Board could get archaeologists in, and so this treasure can be taken care of.
와. 12세기경에 묻혔을 것으로 추정이 되는 그런 동전, 보물 6kg어치를 땅속에서 찾아낸 겁니다. 정말 여러모로 놀랍네요. 자, 그럼 표현을 좀 볼까요? Let's have a look at to unearth something.
Oh, I like this word. To unearth. We don't say to earth something as the opposite meaning. But to unearth something means to dig it up from the earth, to uncover it when it is in the earth. So you can unearth treasure, you can unearth stones, you can unearth roots, you can even unearth potatoes if you like. The point is you're discovering something that has been under the ground.
Unearth 그러면은 땅 속에 있는 것을 파내다. 즉 발굴하다가 되겠고요.
Yeah, but we can also use it when we discover something that's been hidden away. So, for example, if you're searching through your closet, you might unearth old family photos.
그러네요. 찾다. 그냥 이런 의미로 쓸 수 있겠고요. 꼭 땅이 아니어도. What about the early 12th century or the early something?
Yeah, we use the term the early moment or the late moment to describe that time period.
Yeah.
So the early something century, like the early 12th century, will be the first half of that 12th century. The late 12th century would be the second half. So we use early and late. The early 20th century, we talk about 1900 through to 1950. The late 20th century, from 51 through to the year 1999.
Exactly. The early something. 그러면은 초기, 초반의 뭐뭐뭐. So the early Middle Ages. 그러면은 중세 시기 초기를 얘기하고 있겠네요. 반대로 the late, blah 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 이렇게 표현하면은 또 그 시기의 후반을 얘기합니다. All right, here's the headline again. A Swedish man searching for fishing worms near his summer house in the Stockholm area has unearthed a 6-kilogram hoard of silver coins and jewelry from the early Middle Ages, containing thousands of coins, along with rings, pendants, and beads. Now here's our final headline.
An Australian woman has set a new Guinness World Record for the most pull-ups in 1 hour, completing 733, which works out as more than 12 every minute.
호주의 한 여성이 1시간 동안 턱걸이를 733번 성공해 기네스 신기록을 경신했습니다. 이 기록은 1분당 12번 이상 턱걸이를 한 것에 해당합니다. Pull-ups, when you were any good at these? Or are you?
No? Have you seen the size of me, Sue? I'm a big man.
You never know.
My arms can't hold that weight.
정말 힘들죠. But for an hour...
Yes.
Oh, 733.
It's amazing. Congratulations to Jade Henderson and commiserations to Eva Clark, who had set the record in 2016 with 725. Jade Henderson broke that record on the Gold Coast. Both Australians. And Australia is famous for fitness. Lots of people like to get out and about and exercise or surf or do other things. Jade Henderson herself is all about the fitness. She's been competing at CrossFit at a high level. She was planning to go for a 24-hour version of this, which I don't know how anybody could do.
Goodness.
But another Australian, Olivia Vinson, has the record of 7,079 pull-ups in 24 hours.
Oh, so someone has that record.
Good luck to Jade if you try that in the future. I don't think I can even do 10 minutes, let alone an hour or 24 hours.
Even 1 minute is tough. I know some people will do it really, really quickly in a minute. You know, maybe get more than 12, in that time. But to do it constantly for an hour or 24 hours for that matter is just unbelievable.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a Marine or a soldier capable of doing that.
Exactly. 와, 원래는 24시간에 도전하려고 했는데 그 기록이 있대요. 24시간 7,079개 기록을 세우고 있는 올리비아 빈슨이라는 또 역시 호주 여성이 있는데 그 기록에 도전은 결과적으로 못했지만 그 1시간 도전 733번이라는 새로운 기록을 제이드 핸더슨이라는 호주 여성이 기록을 세우게 됐습니다. 기존에는 725개라는 기록이 있었고요. 이번에 733개. 다 철인 같아요. They're like,
Incredible.
Would you say they're iron ladies in their own way? Not like Margaret
Absolutely.
Thatcher, but,
I'd say iron women.
Iron women. Iron women,
Yes.
yeah. 그래요. Okay, let's have a look at what they did. They did pull-ups.
Yes, and a pull-up, well, we have push-ups when
Yeah.
you lie on the floor and you use your hands to push your body up and then lower it down to the floor and then back up again. A pull-up is when you have a bar above your head and you grab onto that bar with your hands and you pull yourself up using your arm strength so that your chin, I believe, has to go above or onto the bar and then down again. And that's a complete pull-up.
그래요. 찾아보시면은 사진도 영상도 다 인터넷에 있습니다. 대단해요. Pull-up. 이게 턱걸이가 되겠습니다. What about to work out as something?
Yes, if something works out as something else, it means that's the calculation you've made. And we use this expression to show that we're doing the calculation. We're doing the maths. We're just making clear that if we do this sum, this is what it is.
Yeah, you can say it also comes to
Yeah. 12
per minute.
Ends up as.
그러니까 결국 계산을 해보면은 이렇다. 이런 얘긴데요. 733 pull-ups in 1 hour works out as more than 12 every minute.
And I wonder, Sue, whether you chose the term works out here because it's a fantastic pun.
Oh, is it? No, I didn't.
To
Why?
work out. To
Oh,
exercise.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Maybe that was what the person who initially wrote this was thinking about.
Perhaps.
Who knows? All right. Well, here's the headline one more time. An Australian woman has set a new Guinness World Record for the most pull-ups in 1 hour, completing 733, which works out as more than 12 every minute. Well, that's it for the headlines this morning with Paul Matthews.
In less than a month, over 550,000 students are scheduled to sit for this year's college entrance exam known as the 수능 at test centers across the country.
2026학년도 대학 수학 능력 시험이 한 달 앞으로 다가왔습니다. 올 수능은 55만 명 이상의 수험생을 대상으로 오는 11월 13일에 전국 고사장에서 일제히 실시됩니다.
Yes.
So we have just under a month until Sunung Day. Tell us more.
Yeah, it's that time of the year. So it's the 2026 College Scholastic Ability Test, or CSAT, and it will take place nationwide on November 13th with over 554,000 students who are set to take the exam. So test takers must enter their designated centers by 8:10 a.m. They have to bring both their admission ticket and a photo ID, and all electronic devices remain strictly prohibited. So that's why I think they have to have those watches. They can't bring their phones. And
Just the analog watches.
Yes,
Yeah.
and all of this, I think they, the schools, they inform the students beforehand, and they're trained how to prepare for these tests. So this year's examinees, they include about 371,000 current high school seniors. There's 182,277 repeat test takers, and admissions experts, they say that the difficulty level is expected to be similar to the September mock exam, and they are advising students to focus on reviewing past material and, don't look at new stuff and avoid careless mistakes rather than tackling these new and difficult problems.
Right. Oh, it's good to hear the difficulty level is going to be similar to last year, because then people who've been preparing for the exam based on last year's test will be well prepared. The test will take place on a Thursday, November 13th, as you said. 전국 고사장에서 11월 13일 날 수능이 치러집니다. 말씀해 주신 것처럼 8시 10분까지 입시를 해야 되죠. 너무나 잘 아실 거예요. 그리고 또 이거는 사실 수험생만이 아니라 시험을 보고 있지 않은 우리 전 국민들이 또 참고해서 알아둬야 할 사실이기 때문에
yes.
그때는 조금 더 조용히, 조심히.
We have to tiptoe around.
그렇죠. 그래서 아마 이제
Stay home.
많은 관공서가 또 출근 시간이 좀 늦춰질 것 같다는 생각이
Yes.
들고요. 그래서
Planes
원활하게
don't land at that time.
특기평가 시간에는 비행기도 뜨지 않죠. 아이들이. 늦지 않게 또 수월하게 이 입시 장소 고사장으로 갈 수 있도록 많은 분들의 협조가 필요할 것 같고요. 말씀하신 것 중에 또 이제 반드시 지참해야 되는 것들. The things you absolutely have to take with you. You said you have to take the test application.
Admission ticket.
Admission ticket.
Yes.
수험표.
Well, yeah.
And also some form of ID.
Yeah. Right. And it has to have your photo.
Okay.
Yeah.
사진이 있는 신분증, 뭐 주민등록증 같은 거요. 그런 거 반드시 지참을 해야 되죠. 전자기기 반입 당연히 안 되고요. 네. 그냥 일반 그게 소위 뭐 수능 시계라고 말할 정도로 그냥 아날로그 시계 이런 것들은 뭐 손목에다가 찰 수 있겠지만
No electronic, no
전자기기 그런
no
것들은
like fruit related watches.
exactly. 네, 그래요. 긴 시간 동안 이제 시험을 볼 우리 수험생들 생각하니까 저도 좀 긴장이 같이 됩니다.
It is a long test.
All right, so the sunung, as you said, it's also called the CSAT in English, but you can just say the sunung and then explain that this is the college entrance exam.
Yes.
Now, to take an exam is an expression we use a lot.
Oh,
시험을
yes.
보다, to take an exam. 여기서는요, people, the students will be sitting for the exam.
Yeah, I think this expression is used more in maybe British countries.
Yeah, probably.
Because in America we usually just say take an exam. Yeah. But you say that we use the expression they're scheduled to sit for this year's exam.
Exactly.
And it just means they're going to take an exam. Yeah.
That's right. So always remember the verb take when you're talking about 시험을 보다. But in this case, you can also say you're going to sit for an exam. 마찬가지로 다 시험을 보다라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. Now, what's a test center?
Test center. Test center is that physical location where you take a test, but it can also be where some sort of inspection is conducted or a test is conducted. So it could be, students take these tests at middle schools, high schools, or it could also be a place like where you get a vehicle emissions inspection station as well.
시험장, 고사장, test center. The spelling of center differs depending on which part of the world you're in. In North America, it's usually spelt ER at the end. But in many British countries or
the
Commonwealth countries,
yes.
thank you. Yes, that was the word I was looking for. 영연방 국가들, Commonwealth countries spell it RE at the end. That's just a spelling difference. All right, well, here's the headline one more time. In less than a month, over 550,000 students are scheduled to sit for this year's college entrance exam, known as the 수능, at test centers across the country. Well, best of luck once again to all the students, fingers crossed. Let's move on to the next headline.
The government will begin offering free influenza and COVID-19 vaccinations in stages to adults aged 65 and older and other high-risk groups starting today, continuing through April 30th next year.
정부가 오늘부터 65세 이상 국민 및 기타 고위험군을 대상으로 독감과 코로나19 예방접종을 무료로 실시합니다. 접종은 연령별로 순차 진행되며 시행 종료일은 내년 4월 30일입니다. So from today.
Yes, starting today.
Tell us more.
So the Seoul Metropolitan Government will offer these free influenza and COVID-19 vaccinations. These are for residents aged 65 and older starting today. So they can receive both shots at once at any of the over 3,000 participating medical institutions across the city. And as we mentioned, it's going to roll out by age group in stages.
So from today, if you're 65, you actually can't get the free shot today.
Yes, right. So it starts with those 75 and older today, and it's going to be followed by those within the ages of 70 to 74 on October 20th, and from the ages of 65 and 69 on October 22nd, and it's going to continue through April 30th, 2026. And officials are urging seniors to get vaccinated early, noting both viruses do pose serious health risks and could see simultaneous outbreaks this winter. And as we mentioned, COVID-19 vaccinations for high-risk groups as well as residents and workers at infection-vulnerable facilities such as nursing homes will also begin today.
Right. 독감 is influenza in English, but the shortened form flu is the more commonly used word. It's the same thing, basically.
Yes.
So you can get your flu shots from today if you're 75 and older. 75세 이상은 오늘부터 무료 접종 가능하고요. 그 다음에는 이제 20일, 그러니까 다음 주 월요일부터는요. 70세에서 74세, 그리고 22일, 다음 주 수요일이거든요. 그때는 65세부터 69세가 역시 이제 무료 접종을 받기 시작할 수 있습니다. 4월 30일까지 맞으실 수 있고요. 시간이 여유가 있지만 그래도 가급적이면 미리 접종을 하는 게 좋다고 하네요.
Yep.
So doing something in stages, let's talk about that.
Yeah, so if you do something in stages, it means that you're doing something in a series of separate steps rather than doing it all at once.
Exactly. 여기선 순차적으로 한다라는 뜻이겠죠. 단계적으로 한 번에 모든 연령대에게 무료 접종이 제공되는 게 아니라 오늘은 뭐 몇 세 이상, 뭐 다음 주부터는 몇 세 이상 이런 식으로요. In stages. How about high-risk groups?
High-risk groups. So we're talking about populations or individuals who are more likely to experience, in this case, adverse health outcomes such as illness, injury, premature death due to specific health conditions or circumstances. And we usually refer to the elderly or people with chronic illnesses, pregnant women, or those with weakened immune systems.
Exactly. 고위험군, high risk group. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The government will begin offering free influenza and COVID-19 vaccinations in stages to adults aged 65 and older and other high-risk groups starting today, continuing through April 30th next year.
Gold prices surged past $4,100 to a record high on Tuesday on growing expectations of U.S. Federal Reserve rate cuts, while renewed U.S.-China trade tensions boosted safe haven demand, lifting silver to an all-time peak as well.
미국 금리 인하에 대한 기대감이 커지면서 화요일인 어제 금값이 사상 처음으로 4,100달러를 돌파한 한편 미중 무역 갈등이 재개됨에 따라 안전 자산 수요가 몰리면서 은 가격 또한 역대 최고치를 기록했습니다. What do we know?
Yeah, so gold prices, this is $4,100 per ounce. So it's a record high, and it reached this record high on Tuesday, driven by expectations of a U.S. Federal Reserve rate cut, and of course, renewed trade tensions between the U.S. and China. They're saying that spot gold rose 0.5% to reach above $4,100 after touching an all-time peak of $4,179.48, while U.S. futures gained 0.3%. It surged 57% just this year, and this has been supported by geopolitical uncertainty, central banks buying, and strong ETF inflows. So a lot of people have been investing in gold.
Yeah.
And analysts say that the next boost could come from dovish signals at the upcoming Federal Open Market Committee or FOMC meeting. And as we mentioned, silver also reached a record $53.60 before easing slightly amid tight market conditions. And major banks like the Bank of America are forecasting that gold prices could go up even higher, reaching $5,000 per ounce by 2026.
So what does this mean for the average person? Does it mean they should hold on to the gold they have?
Yes.
Because it's going to rise even
yeah,
further?
if you have those, the 돌반지.
Yeah.
The 24,
or anything gold, yeah.
Yes, 24 karat gold at home. I would hold on to it. Yeah.
내년에 더 오른다고 하네요. 금값이. 그렇게 예상이 된답니다. 지금도 상당히 많이 올랐는데.
Yes.
All right, let's have a look at growing expectations.
Growing expectations, that means, you could change growing with increasing, rising. So there's increasing anticipation. There's increasing hope that people have for future conditions or outcomes.
Yep. Growing expectations는 커져가는 기대감. What about to boost something?
To boost something, it means maybe to help or encourage something to increase or to improve.
Yeah. 증가시킨다라는 뜻이죠. But we can also use it as a noun, right?
Yes.
Like as in a boost.
A boost, yeah. She received a boost, or the figures received a boost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or you can get a boost in confidence.
Oh,
even.
yes.
So it can be sort of figurative as well as literally making something go up. All right. Well, I'm going to read this one more time. Gold prices surged past $4,100 to a record high on Tuesday on growing expectations of U.S. Federal Reserve rate cuts, while renewed U.S.-China trade tensions boosted safe haven demand, lifting silver to an all-time peak as well. Here's our next headline.
Scientists from 23 countries have warned that the Earth has crossed its first catastrophic tipping point caused by greenhouse gas emissions, with warm water coral reefs entering long-term decline and threatening the livelihoods of hundreds of millions of people.
세계 23개국의 과학자들이 보고서를 통해 지구가 온난화로 인해 첫 번째 임계점에 도달했다고 경고했습니다. 이들이 그 근거로 지목한 현상은 전 세계 산호초가 해수 온도 상승 여파로 장기적인 고사 상태에 이르렀다는 것으로 이는 결국 수억 명 사람들의 생계를 위협하게 될 거라는 설명입니다. Now, traditionally, when we think of coral reefs, we think of pink, orange, colorful, beautiful. But these days, I look at pictures of coral reefs dying and they're just white.
They're white.
And gray.
Yeah, they're dying.
And that's not good.
That's not
Tell us
good.
more.
It's because the oceans are warmer.
Yeah.
So this is according to a new global tipping points report, and it's warning that the Earth has reached its first, I can't pronounce this correctly today, catastrophic tipping point.
Yeah.
And this is, of course, due to greenhouse gas emissions, with warm water coral reefs now in long-term decline. So this is a study that's been led by the University of Exeter, and it involves 160 scientists, and they estimate that reefs have hit a critical threshold at around 1.2 degrees Celsius of global warming, which the planet has already surpassed. And researchers say the collapse of coral ecosystems could affect hundreds of millions of people who depend on them for food and livelihoods. But some experts do argue that reefs may still adapt and survive because they are living organisms.
Yeah.
And they're saying that they may adapt and survive up to 2 degrees Celsius of warming if aggressive climate action and better local management are taken. So we need to work fast, and we really need to do something. A concerted global effort needs to be taken. But the report also warns that other systems like the Amazon rainforest, major ocean currents, and polar ice sheets are nearing collapse. So like I mentioned before, scientists are saying that the world, all of us, must urgently accelerate positive tipping points, such as renewable energy adoption, to counter irreversible damage.
Right. So talking about climate change, of course, 기후변화에 있어서도 특히 이 산호초가 살 수 있는 그 임계점, 살지 못하는 그런 임계점을 넘어섰다. 이런 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. 이렇게 되면은 바닷속의 생태계도 붕괴가 되고 그로 인해서 너무나 많은 파생 효과가 나타나겠죠. 임계점, you said threshold earlier on. That's one way of saying it.
Yes.
Or, as it says in this headline, tipping point.
Tipping point. Yeah, it's that point where a series of small changes or incidents become so significant that it causes larger or more important change.
To tip, it doesn't mean to give someone a tip. In this case, it means to fall.
That's right.
넘어진다는 뜻이 있어요. 티프라는 게. 그러니까 티핑 포인트는 이 지점에 도달했을 때 더 이상 균형을 이루지 않고 탁 무너지는 겁니다. 그래서 임계점이라고 해석을 할 수 있겠죠. 팁가 또 이런 비슷한 의미로 들어가는 게 뭐가 있을까요? Tipsy? When you drink a lot, you feel a little bit 약간
tipsy.
어지러지해서 똑바로 걷지 못하는
Like when you're
상태.
about to fall, when you see someone who's extremely intoxicated,
그래요.
they look like they're going to fall.
맞아요. 그러니까 보통 우리가 넘어지는 거를 팁한다고 하진 않지만 밸런싱 하고 있는 상태였을 때 이렇게 딱 한쪽으로 기울어지거나 내려갈 때 그런 거를 티핑한다고 합니다. So tipping point. What about long term?
Long term. So we say short term, long term. So when something is long term, it means that it occurs over or it's relating to a long period of time.
Right. 여기서 말하는 long term은 장기적인. So the opposite would be short term?
Short term, yeah. There's also we also use the term mid to long term.
Oh yeah, that's right. 중장기적인, mid to long term, 단기적인, short term. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Scientists from 23 countries have warned that the Earth has crossed its first catastrophic tipping point caused by greenhouse gas emissions with warm water coral reefs, entering long-term decline and threatening the livelihoods of hundreds of millions of people. And here's our final headline.
A dress made entirely of 21-karat gold and weighing nearly 9 kilograms has set a new Guinness World Record as the most valuable gold garment, valued at over $1 million.
21캐럿 금으로만 만들어져 무게가 거의 9kg에 달하는 드레스가 100만 달러가 넘는 가치로 평가되며 세계에서 가장 비싼 황금 드레스로 기네스 세계 기록에 올랐습니다. Now, in association with the other story we had about gold prices, this dress is only going to get more expensive.
Oh, yes, yeah.
But tell us more. It's a heavy dress and it's an expensive dress.
It's heavy, it's expensive, and it's beautiful as
Yeah,
well. Yeah,
okay.
it's a dazzling new world record, and it's also capturing global attention, perhaps because gold prices have reached record highs lately. But it's made entirely of gold, and it's been officially named the world's most valuable gold garment by the Guinness World Records. It's been created by AI Romization golden jewelry, and it's a
Al.
Romaze. I can't pronounce this. Romazan golden jewelry. That's the name of the company.
Right.
But it's worth over $1 million, and it was shared on Guinness World Records Instagram, and it shows a model wearing this radiant gown, and I'm guessing that they didn't make it out of pure gold or 24 karat gold because it's very malleable, so they probably chose 21 karat gold. But of course, it went viral instantly, and a lot of social media users were saying that it's living art, it's a masterpiece beyond luxury, and it's quite heavy, as we mentioned. So others were saying that it's heavier than my gym weights. And yes, you could. It would be quite a workout when you're wearing it.
I mean, it's not the most practical thing to wear, but it's pretty.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I don't know. Where would you wear it? Because I would feel like people would attack you on the streets.
It belongs in a museum, in my opinion.
It probably does. Yeah, but as you mentioned, it's probably going to increase in value as the price of gold has been going up and is expected to go up even further.
Yeah, exactly. 그래요. 이제 금으로 만들어진 드레스입니다. 이 드레스라는 말이 나온 김에 우리 드레스와 원피스라는 표현을 좀 같이 살펴보면 좋을 것 같은데 원피스는 콩글리시예요. 사실 영어에서 원피스라고 하면은 하나의 하나의 천.
Yes. It's made out of one piece of cloth.
The whole garment 이런 느낌이 있어요. 원피스라고 하면은 그래서 우리가 콩글리시로 말하는 원피스가 영어에서는 드레스가 되겠죠. 근데 우리가 또 한국에서도 드레스라는 말을 쓰기는 쓰는데 굉장히 화려한
formal wear.
맞아요. evening gown 같은 거. 그렇게 표현해요. 영어에서는 우리가 말하는 드레스는 약간 영어의 evening gown에 가깝습니다.
I think you could use the term one piece when referring to, you know, the baby clothes that are made out of one. We call it onesies.
Onesies, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
그러네요.
but it's just
우주복 같이 생긴 거.
Yeah, and you just you use the little clip-on things at when you
change their diapers.
Exactly. And
It's been
it's
a while,
made out
hasn't
of
it, Karen?
one piece. Yes, it's been a while.
그래요. 아기들 이게 우주복처럼 생긴 옷 있잖아요. 그런 거는 이제 onesies라고 하는데 그게 어떻게 보면 one piece. 그냥 하나의 옷이잖아요. 딱 그냥 거기 안에 쏙 들어가고 쏙 나오고 하니까 그런 느낌이라고 보시면 되겠고 해당되는 이 gold dress는 그럼 어떻게 설명을 해야 되죠? 여러분 한번 검색해 보시면 좋을 것 같은데 일반적인 드레스는 아니에요. 이렇게 밑에 뾰족하게 이렇게 삼각형 모양으로 내려가 있고 그다음에 어깨에도 굉장히 넓게 나와 있어서
It looks like a ceremonial sort of, you would put it on top of something that you're wearing already.
You might wear it in a movie, maybe. You definitely would not wear this.
It looked more like like wearable jewelry.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
그러네요. All right, let's have a look at made entirely of gold.
Yeah, something that's made entirely of something. It means that it's composed of only like one specific material or substance with no other components.
Exactly. 뭐뭐만으로 만들어졌다. It's made entirely of something. 그 다음에 garment.
Garment. When we refer to an item of clothing, we call it a garment.
옷이죠. 의류, 의복. 자, 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A dress made entirely of 21 karat gold and weighing nearly 9 kilograms has set a new Guinness World Record as the most valuable gold garment, valued at over $1 million. All right, well, that's it for the headlines this morning.
The International Monetary Fund has raised its 2025 global growth forecast to 3.2% as tariff shocks and financial conditions have proven more benign than expected.
국제통화기금 IMF는 미국 관세 정책으로 인한 파장이 당초 우려했던 만큼은 아니라고 판단해 올해 세계 경제 성장률 전망치를 3.2%로 소폭 상향 조정했습니다. So it's not as dire as we initially thought.
Yeah, of course, because of the Trump tariffs and a lot of talk that they were talking about with financial battles between countries and taxes and tariffs and all these financial words, people were getting quite concerned about what it was going to do to the world economy. But they are saying that it's going to be better than expected because I think the big key here is that everyone was being pessimistic, but now after reviewing everything, they're basically saying, nah, you know what? It's not going to be as bad as we expected.
Yeah, the last time experts made a forecast of this year's economic growth, they said it would grow about 3% or 2.8%, but now they're saying 3.2%.
Yeah, it's significantly more, so absolutely.
Yeah, all right. We're looking at the financial conditions of the world right now. So what are financial conditions?
First off, financial, we're talking finance or money and economy, things to do with that sort of stuff. And the conditions is just basically what it feels like. When we talk about like weather conditions, so, you know, the temperature outside or if it's sunny or if it's cloudy or rainy, things like that. So in terms of financial conditions, is it good? Is it bad? Is it positive? Are people or usually when we say this, are banks making a lot of money? Is probably the key, right? Because when things are going well financially, then usually banks are earning a lot of money.
그렇죠. 재정적인 상황을 얘기하고 있습니다. Financial conditions. Depending on what you're talking about, conditions can mean different things.
It can.
So with legal contracts, conditions would be 조건. When you're talking about an ailment, a disease or illness, then you're talking about whether or not you're improving or not. It's not sort of your everyday health, but a more serious condition.
Yes. And of course, Koreans tend to use this incorrectly when they say, oh, condition이 안 좋아 or something like that. They'll mix it up on times. But yeah, do note that we don't use it that way. In English, it's kind of like, oh, like I feel good or I feel bad, I feel healthy, whatever. But you don't need to use the word condition in the way that Koreans do.
Because if you did say, in terms of your health, that the conditions or my condition is bad, then I would assume you have some sort of serious...
An ailment. Yes.
Not just that you feel bad. But in Korea, we use it very casually.
Yeah.
So it's a Konglish way of using it.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
All right, what about benign?
Benign is when you are expecting something to be bad, but it's actually harmless.
Yeah.
So I think the way or the place that we hear this the most is when it's related to cancer. Right? So we talk about tumors, which is like a lump or a bump in your body that can be cancerous, that can turn into cancer. So, you know, anytime we hear the word cancer, I mean, people get scared, right? Because you get worried and concerned. Oh my God, it's cancer. But when it comes to tumors that can turn into cancer, if it's benign, then it means that it's actually harmless.
Yeah. I had a benign tumor as well.
Really?
So yeah, when I told my friends I've had this tumor, well, it was a small one, but when I got it removed, the first thing that my friends asked me was, is it benign?
Yeah.
And luckily it was. So that was, a sort of moment.
Yeah. And
benign,
certainly something that that's a way that you can ask if a friend or someone you know ever reveals that they have a tumor, then that would be the first thing that you would, is it benign?
Exactly. Right. How do you spell benign?
Benign is BENIGN, so a little bit tricky with the G in there.
Exactly. You don't pronounce the G.
Yeah.
All right. 자, 그래요. 그래서 종양 같은 경우에는 악성이 아니다라는 뜻으로 benign을 쓰고요. 보통은 양호하다, 좀 가볍다 이런 의미로 많이 쓰는데 The financial conditions around the world are more benign than previously thought. 그러니까 전 세계적인 지금 이제 경제 상황이 기존에 생각했던 것만큼 나쁘지는 않다. 이렇게 해석할 수 있겠네요. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The International Monetary Fund has raised its 2025 global growth forecast to 3.2% as tariff shocks and financial conditions have proven more benign than expected. Okay, let's move on to the second headline.
The U.S. passport has fallen out of the top 10 in the Henley Passport Index, which ranks global passport strength, while 3 Asian countries, namely Singapore, Korea, and Japan, now lead the list.
전 세계 여권 파워를 측정해 순위를 매기는 헨리 여권 지수에서 미국이 10위권 밖으로 밀려난 반면 싱가포르, 한국, 일본 등 아시아 3개국이 정상권에 올랐습니다. So, as it says here, Korea is number 2 on the list. Singapore is number 1. We have really powerful passports. I have one of those. I have a South Korean passport, of course. The US passport is not as strong as before.
As welcomed as before, you could say.
It's all about visas, isn't it?
Yeah, it's how many countries you can get into, and I think they also consider like buying power, like how much money you spend when you're traveling compared to how much people spend in your country and stuff like that. So it has a bunch of things that they do consider.
Yeah.
Interestingly, so it says that the U.S. They fell out of the top 10. They're actually down to 12th place.
Okay.
But here's something interesting. When they do the placements, they also, like, there could be multiple countries in that particular rank. So although they rank the U.S. 12th, there's actually 36 countries ranked ahead of the U.S.
Oh.
So there might be multiple countries that are ranked 11th and multiple countries that are ranked 10th. So there's actually 36. Yeah, so you could actually say that the U.S. is ranked 37th in the world.
Very low down on the list,
because
actually.
it factors in the ties as well.
Interesting.
So I think, our perception is like, I want a U.S. passport. Like, that's the passport that everyone in the world wants, is the perception that people might have. But in actuality, in terms of respect around the world, Korea, they're at number 2.
Exactly. That means we can go to a lot of countries visa-free and
190 to be exact.
190. Okay.
Singapore at 193 and Japan at 189.
Okay. All right, let's have a look at falling out of the top 10 list.
Yeah, if you fall out of something, then previously you were in a group of some sort, or maybe you had a distinction of some sort, but now you no longer have that distinction, or you're no longer part of the group. So if you fell out of the group, it's probably because you didn't want to exit that group. So that's why you fell down from it. You're out of the group now, so you've fallen out.
Fall out of something, literally, you might fall out of something, but in this case it's figurative. 목록에서 빠졌다. 목록 10위권 밖으로 나오게 됐다. 이런 의미로 fall out of the top 10 list라고 했어요.
We'll often hear that somebody might have fallen out of favor from like a group of people or from a particular person. They might have fallen out of favor from, the public, or fallen out of favor from the company. So they're no longer welcome or liked by this particular group.
to fall out of favor from someone or something, or a group or a country. 그래요. 자, 이렇게 한국이 190개국을 비자 없이 갈 수 있는 그런 여권 소유한 나라입니다. 그래서 한국 여권이 굉장히 파워풀한 2위를 차지했고요. 싱가포르 여권이 있다면은 193개국을 비자 없이 갈 수 있고, 또 3위 같은 경우 일본 여권이 있다면은 189개국을 또 비자 프리로, 비자 없이 갈 수가 있다고 합니다. 그렇게 해서 이런 순위를 쭉 설명하고 있는데요. Namely, the top 3 countries are Singapore, Korea, and Japan.
Yeah, I think when you're using namely like this, you're saying, well, in particular, or these are the countries that we're talking about. And it's because at first, they're being vague, right? Because they're saying 3 Asian countries, but they're not naming the actual 3. It's kind of like, well, 3 Asian countries. Now, if I were to name them, well, if I want to be more specific or more exact, well, these are the countries that I was actually talking about. So while 3 Asian countries, namely Singapore, Korea, and Japan, now lead the list. So it's kind of being like, I wasn't going to name it, but okay, here, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is.
Exactly. 그래요. 좀 더 구체적으로 말하자면 이거를 영어 단어 namely로 축약을 할 수 있어요. So at first it says 3 Asian countries topped the list. And you might go, which Asian countries? So then it's very kindly explains what they are. Namely, they are Singapore, Korea, and Japan.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, yeah, well, okay, if you want me to name them, then it's these countries. So
Exactly.
you're actually telling them by name.
Yep. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The US passport has fallen out of the top 10 in the Henley Passport Index, which ranks global passport strength, while 3 Asian countries, namely Singapore, Korea, and Japan, now lead the list.
The small African nation of Cabo Verde has made history by qualifying for the World Cup for the first time after a 3-0 home victory over Eswatini.
아프리카의 작은 섬나라 카보베르데가 에스와티니와 벌인 월드컵 축구 예선전 홈 경기에서 승리하면서 사상 처음으로 월드컵 본선에 진출했습니다. Wow, what an achievement for Cabo Verde.
Yeah.
The first time for them to get into the next round of the World Cup.
And I'll have to admit, prior to reading this story, I had never heard of Cabo
Well, it
Verde.
is a very small country, to be
Very
fair.
small country. They have just over 500,000 inhabitants of their country. So when you think of a city in Korea that has like 500,000 people, and that's a country that qualified for the World Cup. Very impressive. It's on the west side of Africa. And it's actually just a group of islands.
Right.
So it's not even part of the African mainland. Very small country and, very impressive.
Exactly.
And I should note also that the World Cup next year, which is in North America, there are now going to be 48 countries that qualify, whereas in previous World Cups, more recently, it's always been 32.
Yeah, it was less. Yeah,
So there's 16 more countries that qualify. So there will be countries probably qualifying for the World Cup that we might not be used to seeing at the World Cup.
그러니까 본선 진출하는 나라가 이번에는 48개국이군요. 기존에는 30여 개국이었는데 그중에 이제 카보 베르데가 역시 월드컵 본선에 진출을 하게 됐습니다. We're talking about the 2026 FIFA World Cup that's going to be held in the North and Central Americas. 북중미 월드컵 본선 진출했다라는 소식이고요. 카보 베르데는 굉장히 작은 섬으로 이루어진 국가입니다. 그래서 전체 인구가 53만 명이 채 안 돼요. It's an archipelago. That means there are many islands, as you said.
Group of islands, yeah.
Group of islands.
And they're the second smallest country ever to qualify for a World Cup, whereas Iceland qualified in 2018 for the Russian World Cup, and they were the smallest country so far to have ever qualified.
Well, we've used the word qualify quite a lot. Let's have a look at that word.
Yeah, if you qualify for something, then it means that you have what it takes to enter something or to be able to do something.
Yep.
You have the qualifications or you have qualified, meaning that you've gone through the due process to be able or allowed to do something.
Exactly. To qualify라고 하면은요. You okay there?
Oh, yeah.
Right. 자, 뭐뭐 할 자격이 있다, 예선을 통과한다라는 의미로 많이 쓰죠. 그래서 여기서도 월드컵 본선에 진출, 예선전에서 이제 승리를 했기 때문에 그렇게 했다, 다음 단계로 넘어간다라는 의미가 되겠죠. If someone qualifies for something, 그러면 뭐뭐 할 자격이 있다, 이렇게 많이 씁니다. And what's a home victory?
A home victory is a win, victory being a win. Now, we can talk about home being either in your country or your home in terms of where the game or competition was played. And we talk about this in sports quite a bit because when there is a game or a match of some sort, then it could be played at a neutral venue, but usually it's played at the venue of one of the two competing teams. So if Korea plays a game in Korea, then we would call that a home game. And if we were to win that home game, we can call it a home victory.
Yep.
The opposite of a home game would be a road game because it means you're on the road. You're not at your home. You have
Not
to,
an away game?
we can call it away as well.
Okay.
Yep. So it can be either a road game, it could be an away game, it could be a visitor game as well. So a few
okay.
different ways that you can use as the opposite of a home game.
Got it. 자, 홈 게임 하면 뭐 스포츠 좋아하시는 분들은 굉장히 익숙한 표현이잖아요. 홈 경기 승리라는 뜻인데 home victory가 바로 그런 의미가 되겠습니다. 예선전은 아까 이제 qualify라는 단어를 조금 활용해서 qualifiers 이렇게 표현을 하죠.
That's right.
qualifying game일 것 같은데 그거 이제 줄여가지고 qualifiers라고 표현을 합니다. Well, the FIFA World Cup in 2026 will be held in the US, Canada and Mexico. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The small African nation of Cabo Verde has made history by qualifying for the World Cup for the first time after a 3-0 home victory over Eswatini. Let's move on to the next headline.
Experts have warned against drinking bottled water past its best before date, as doing so may increase the risk of ingesting harmful microplastics linked to bowel cancer, brain damage, and infertility.
유통기한이 지난 생수는 대장암, 뇌손상, 불임 등과 관련된 미세 플라스틱을 섭취할 위험을 높이기 때문에 이를 마시지 말 것을 경고하는 전문가 의견이 나왔습니다. Alright, gotta be careful what sort of bottled water you drink.
Absolutely. And of course, we're talking about the plastic bottled water as opposed to if you drink bottled water out of a glass bottles. And they're saying that people who regularly drink bottled water consume before its expiration date, they consume around 900,000 more microplastic particles each year than those who drink just tap water. And this is consumed before the expiration date, not after. So you can only imagine that it's going to be even worse if you're drinking tap water that is past its best before date.
And they say, you know, if you have too much of the microplastics in your body, it can cause all sorts of bad health conditions. And we're talking about, it says here, let's see, cancer, lower sperm count, ADHD, autism. I mean, it's not automatically going to lead to that, but there's just a likelihood of it.
The possibility even, can be. And they do say that most of the microplastics that you do ingest usually are, I guess, extracted or
excreted
out of your body regardless. But still, just to have any amount left in your body, certainly not good for you.
All right. Now, what is the best before date?
A best before date, you'll see this in packaging in North America. It'll usually say best before.
Right.
And that's saying that this is the date that you should consume this product before. So whether it be eggs or milk or any kind of a perishable grocery product that you might eat, it's going to have a date on it. Bread as well, or even dry products. It'll have a best before date and say, it's best to consume this before this date.
In a full sentence, I feel like this would be, it is best to consume this before.
Yes.
But that's
before
too long.
this date.
Yeah, you can't write that on every packaging. So they just say best before. 네. 권장 섭취 기한입니다. 이때까지 섭취하시는 것이 좋습니다를 줄여서 best before라고 해서 서양에서 파는 많은 식료품에는 이 표시가 있어요. best before 하고 날짜. 유통기한이랑은 좀 다른 건데요. 이때까지 섭취하는 게 좋다라는 뜻이죠. What about ingesting something?
Ingesting something is when you take something into your body, usually orally, through your mouth, by eating something or drinking something. It could be, I guess, breathing in something as well, perhaps. So it's just when you're having something enter your body.
Yeah, ingesting, 섭취하다, 삼키다가 되겠습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. Experts have warned against drinking bottled water past its best before date, as doing so may increase the risk of ingesting harmful microplastics linked to bowel cancer, brain damage, and infertility. Right, this is our final headline.
A woman in the U.S. has gone viral after giving birth to a baby weighing 5.8 kilograms, nearly twice the size of an average newborn.
미국의 한 산모가 초우량아를 출산해 화제가 됐습니다. 이 아기의 몸무게는 5.8kg으로 일반 신생아 체중의 거의 2배에 달하는 것으로 알려졌습니다. Wow, this is a heavy baby. Almost 6 kilograms. Normally, newborns weigh about 3 kilograms.
Yeah, around 3, I would say.
Yeah.
I thought my kids were heavy because they were just under 4 kilograms when they were born.
That is heavy, yeah.
And people were shocked when they heard that. But when you start saying 5.8, that is crazy.
Tell us more.
Yeah, and it was obviously a C-section in terms of the cesarean, so that to operate in order to have the baby born, who was named Cassian as a newborn baby, as a newborn boy.
I've seen pictures of the baby, like moments after he was born, and he's massive. He's really, really big, I have to say. But adorable, as all babies go.
And not the largest baby, even most recently, in fact, because just last month in Florida, another baby was born on September 3rd, weighing it at 6.32.
Oh my goodness.
6.32. That's like double a normal birth. In fact, they say that the average newborn is around 3.18. So 3.18 is normal or average. So 6.32, that's literally, 6.36 would be double that. So, I mean, yeah. Wow. Ooh.
정말 초우량아를 낳은 그런 사례들이 여기저기 있네요. 자, 이 아기 같은 경우에는 이제 5.8kg으로 태어났고요. Does the baby, what was the baby's name again?
Cassian.
Cassian, 그래요. 이 아기가 태어나고 나서 이제 부모가 사진을 소셜미디어에 올렸더니 거기 올라왔던 댓글 중에 재밌는 댓글이 하나 있었어요. This was one of the comments. How many years was he in there? 몇 년 동안 엄마 뱃속에 있었던 거예요. 그러니까 그만큼 너무 크니까.
Yeah.
그래요. 그래도 순산 축하드립니다. All right, so this went viral. Let's have a look at that expression.
This is something that we use a lot today, especially in social media. If something goes viral, it means that it has spread very, very quickly. Viral meaning like a virus.
Yeah.
It's related to the base word of virus. And when we think of a virus, we're thinking about, when cells multiply very, very quickly. Of course, when it comes to things like cancer or other viruses. The issue with those viruses is that the cells, they multiply so quickly that it takes over certain portions of your body very, very quickly. So when we say that something has gone viral, it means that it has spread or multiplied very, very rapidly.
Yeah. I feel like now we've adopted this word just as it is in Korean as well. So people will say 바이럴 됐다. But it means 온라인상으로 화제가 됐다. What about twice the size of something?
Twice the size of something basically meaning that it is double in size or it is 2 times. So twice, is another word for 2. So saying like 2 times or 2x something. If a normal baby is 3.18, then this is almost double, almost twice the size at 6.32.
Twice the size of something. 무엇의 2배 크기다. 엄밀히 따지자면 이제 2배 무게를 얘기하고 있는 거기는 한데요. 그래도 뭐 건강하게 잘 태어났다고 합니다. 참고로 아까 얘기했던 제왕절개는 영어로 cesarean section인데요. 여기서 이제 제왕이 바로 케사르 Caesar를 말하고 있거든요. 그래서 Caesar를 어원으로 하는 cesarean section인데 이게 기니까 보통 그냥 C-section이라고 얘기를 합니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. A woman in the US has gone viral after giving birth to a baby weighing 5.8 kilograms, nearly twice the size of an average newborn. Well, that's it for the headlines with Jason Lee.